YouTube, what's going on, man? Today I'm coming to you with a different style video. This will be a haircut video on how to do a low slash mid fade on the afro. All right, today I got my guy Zell with me. I started off first by picking the hair from the scalp to kind of give my clippers a better way to feed through the hair if I was cutting it down. But like I said, today is just gonna be a mid slash low fade. So we're gonna just pick it out. That way when I get to the end of the cut, it'll make it easier for me to sponge the hair and everything else. So right here, I started out with my lever open, just creating my first guideline. I didn't actually get it on film, but I started out with my liner. That's why you'll see at the end of it, I went back to my liner to take the line out. But I started with my lever open to create my first guideline. I went over it multiple times to kind of get it set off in there. And if you notice, I'm using the corner of my blades, and you'll notice that throughout the whole video as I'm using the corner of my blades to solidify that first guideline. So right here, I was putting on my one guard to set in my second guideline. As you can see, I'm still using the corners, not using that full blade, just to make sure I'm not putting, a line in or a guideline in somewhere that I don't want it. I'm just using that right corner, going up about maybe half of an inch, just to set in that second guideline to know where I'm at throughout the cut. I don't know if you all been paying attention, but every time after I finish setting in or finishing setting in my guideline, I'm combing. Like right here, I'm just overly combing to make sure the hair is coming back down. I'm combing in the direction of the hair. To make sure that I get that guideline all at the same length. That way I won't, if I just went and just faded without combing, I could think that it's a guideline sitting there. When I comb it down at the end of the cut, the hair comes back down, and I didn't spend trying to rush through a cut 5 minutes on one side, and it ain't even all the way faded. So it's a term, you hear a lot of barbers say something like brush one, fade one. Same thing here, brush one, fade one. Comb one, fade one. I like using a comb because the comb can actually get through the hair, but you can use a brush, you don't have a comb too. So like I said, if you notice, I'm just using the corner of that blade right here. After I took that one guard off, I went in with a no guard to kind of take out that guideline I set in with my one guard. And you'll hear a lot of guys do a lot of different things. I know guys right here at this step, they'll go half guard or zero guard right here. But just throughout my years of cutting, I've been cutting for about 7 years, I've came to notice that every time you don't need the zero guard or the half guard. Sometimes you can just go in with the lever open and get that guideline out of there. So right here, that's exactly what I did. I went in with the lever all the way open, no guard, and to kind of take that line out. And right here, like I told you at the beginning, I took my trimmers because that's what I set my ball line in, which was my first guideline. I went in with my trimmers to take that line out. So that's something you want to keep in mind is whatever you use to set the guideline in, that's what you want to use to take the guideline out. And once again, you can see I'm combing the hair down and everything to make sure it's all laid. So right here, I put on my 1.5 guard closed, which is equivalent to a 1 guard, but I put my 1.5 closed on just to be safe. I seen just a little bit of bulk above that last guideline that I set in, which, it really didn't hurt none. But I would consider this right here my detail work, because this isn't one of my steps I use when I'm cutting hair. This is just something that I do, depending on the cut to get lines out. And as you notice, I said it's equivalent to the 1 guard. So what I did was I put the 1 guard on and I went closed. Now usually I have it open, but I went in first with the 1.5 closed, so I know that I was safe to go down to the 1 guard closed because it's essentially almost the same thing. And right here you'll see me going with the grain. Like I said, I'm working at that little line right there to try to get it out, but I think I'm gonna leave it like that for right now. So now we on the other side. As you can see, last time I skipped this step, but I'm gonna let it show this time. I put my ball line in with my trimmers. And just like on the other side, I want to use that trimmer to take that line out. But since we already went over the other side and everything, I'm actually going to fast forward this side so we can go ahead and get to the back of the hair. So all right, now we on the back of the head, and I'm still sitting in my guideline, as you can see right in the middle of his head. It went up a little higher, so I'm just kind of going right under it, and I'm going to make my first guideline match it with my lever open. But before I even get into, deep into the back of the head, I want you to notice something about no matter where I'm at, if I'm in the back of the head, on the sides, I'm always utilizing the same steps. So on the back of the head, I'm starting out just like I did on the sides with my lever open, going up about half an inch. And he told me before the cut he wanted to kind of bring his back down a little bit. So I kind of was trying to keep it a little lower than the rest of his hair on top, the rest of that bulky area. So like I said, I started out with my lever open. I'm sorry about that. Started with my lever open, and I'm going to utilize the same steps. Once again, I'm using my corners, not using a full blade. But when you're on the back of the head, this is something you can do. For the middle, you can use the whole blade. But once you get to that right and left side, you want to start utilizing those corners to make it a little bit easier on yourself, and to make sure you don't take off no hair that you didn't intend to take off. But the same thing, corners, using the corner of my blade. Started off with the lever open, no guard on, and then every time I'm fade, I'm brushing one or combing one, whichever you choose to use. Always, and I mean always do that. And another thing to kind of note is that the hair is not gonna always grow the same way. All right, so like usually most people, in the back the hair grows straight down, but I've cut people hair where the back grow left and right, and the middle of the middle of the back of the head goes left to right and goes straight down. So it's like it's weird. So that's just something I always remember when you cut in the back of the head. But right here, I grabbed my one guard, and I went up I didn't even go up half an inch. I went up just a little bit under a half an inch, just to kind of stay away from that bulky area that's right above it. And actually, I think right here, I'm going in. Yeah, my lever is closed. I'm going in with my lever closed, one guard on, lever closed, just attacking that line that you see. As you can see, it's slowly fading away. The more I comb it down, I'm going right back, and I'm attacking just that line. I'm not going above it. I'm attacking right at that line, and it's slowly going away. And every single time I attack it, I'm combing it down to make sure I get it all the way out. So right here, I still got my one guard on, and I had the lever closed, still attacking at that line that you can see right there. It's not, like I said, you're never gonna be able to take a line out with just one guard. And you don't always have to go against the grain when you fade. Sometimes if it's hard to get a line out, flip that clip around and go with the grain. So right there, that's just exactly what I did. I went with the grain, still had my one guard closed. And as you can see, I'm still combing. I'm doing the same thing no matter where I'm at on the head. If I'm in the back of the head, if I'm on the side, I'm doing the same thing, combing, trying to make sure that all the hair is laid down. So right here, only thing I was doing was kind of like a freehand trim, that little bulky area that you see. I was trying to make that bottom part blend in with the top part of the hair. This is it takes not that much skill, but it just takes a little bit of practice to get, used to. And like I said, I'm not digging all the way in, because if I do, I'll create a bald spot. But I'm just trying to get that bulky area that you see right there to blend in with the rest of the hair at the top. And like I said, it's not something you can just do overnight. You're gonna really have to practice it. But right here, I believe I put my half guard on with the lever closed, attacking at that line. Like I said, I'm not going above it. I'm not going under it. I'm going right at that line, and I'm going right away from it. Soon I finish fading it, I'm combing it down to see what did I do to that line, to see if I need to attack it again. That's something like I said, I'm gonna really put emphasis on that throughout this whole video so that you guys can know how to eliminate the guidelines that you set in. And it's not gonna be just by like a lot of you guys, I've sat and watched guys cut hair and they take it and they just keep attacking the line without combing it, and they thinking, no, the line is not going away, the line's not going away. But that's simply because you're not combing it, you're not brushing it as you're going. So that's something that you all need to remember when you're cutting hair, is to always take the comb every time after you fade one, comb one or brush one. I said I like using combs. You'll catch me using brushes, little small brushes here and there, but more often than not, I like using combs because I can actually pull the hair in the direction that I want to pull. So right here, what I was doing was I took some alcohol and I was just rubbing the line, basically cleaning the line. As you can notice, I'm not rubbing the forehead. I'm actually rubbing the hair that I'll be cutting off. And I'm kind of getting a little bit up, getting a little bit more of the hair too that's on top of the hairline, because I want my canvas clean when I'm getting ready to line it up. But so what I'm doing right here, like I said, I just took a neck strip. You can take a cotton ball, neck strip, whatever you can, and put some alcohol on it just to clean that area. That'll kind of help you create that ash line that you all be looking for at the end of the cut, and that'll help your line come out way, way more crispier than, you know, just a typical hairline. So right here, I'm going in with a little holding spray. You can find this holding spray here at Walmart. Like I said, and I should have said this in the beginning, but every item that you see in this video, I have a link to it in my description so you can go find it. But yeah, right here I'm just spraying holding spray. So after I put the alcohol on, I put the holding spray there to kind of lock the hair in place. And this will help you, especially for the beginners, when you lining the hair up, to kind of keep the hair still while you lining it up. So right after I spray the holding spray, I like to come in with my blow dryer and let the hair dry. But it's important to note, you can do it on hot. I like to do mine on cold. That way I don't irritate my client's skin or, you know, make him hot or make him uncomfortable. So I go in with it on cold, and as you can see, I'm taking my comb and I'm combing all of the hair to the front in the direction that it's going. So I'm combing all the hair in the front because that's going to be all the hair that I cut off. And I'm going around, I'm doing the same thing around the whole head. So behind the ear, I sprayed the holding spray behind it. I'm going to comb it. I'm going to comb the hair in the direction I think it's going. And keep in mind that the cold air is locking the hair in place quickly. So you want to comb and blow at the same time to get the hair in the direction that it's, you know, intended to go. All right, so this is the part that everybody, I'm pretty sure, was waiting on, which is the hairline. All right, so before I even just dive off into the tips I got for doing the hairline, I'm going to just say this. The blade is straight. So whatever clipper you get, unless you buy some clippers from someone and they didn't already use them, it's a chance of the blade not being straight, which I don't recommend. But most times when you buy a trimmer, the blade is going to be straight. So I said that to say, once you put the trimmer on the line and you set that first line in, which I like to start in the middle and work my way to the left or to the right, but everybody can be different. I just don't like starting from the left side of the head and going all the way to the right, because you got a higher chance at messing up the hairline, if I'm being honest. But sorry about my arm blocking this part right here too. But yes, when you going in on the hairline, like I said, the blade is straight on the trimmer. So a lot of people try to turn the head and do all that. Yes, angling the head the right way can help out with getting a crispy line, but you mainly want to position your trimmer, the blade to be exact, to get it to where you want, so to get the line how you want it. So you basically using your barber's eye as well as, like, you know, the line straight. So using your barber's eye to kind of create that line you want using a straight blade, if that makes sense. So that's how it was taught to me. The blade is straight, so there's no need in doing all this extra stuff. Like, just let the blade do its work. If your blade's sharpened the right way, which it don't take much, the blades get sharper the more you cut. But if your blades are sharpened the right way and you position the blade the right way, it's going to cut. If it doesn't, that don't mean push hard. It's going to leave your climb with scars. It's going to, 9 times out of 10 you might lose that climb. But just let the blade do what it do. Just put it on there, lightly press. Use your thumb. You're not using your whole wrist to push down. You're just using your thumb. Place that finger on the forehead like you see my index finger doing. And I'm using my thumb. I'm pushing my thumb down and I'm letting my thumb do the work. And like I said, I like how my blades are set on these trimmers right here, which I had these in the description as well. But anytime you line someone up, like I said, you just want to use your blade. Right now on the C cups, I'm using the edge of my blade. Like I kind of mentioned when I was fading, I'm using the corner of my blade. And right now I'm using the corner of my trimmer to kind of get that C look to the C cups right here. All right, and I'm lightly tapping it. I'm going over it a few times to make sure that line is set in stone before we come in later and put enhancements on it. But same thing I did when I was fading. I'm combing it down to make sure I get it to where I want it to be at. Right here, I'm just doing the same thing I did on the other side. So I started out from the middle and I'm working my way over to the right side. And as you can see, like he had that double line look. And that's not intentional. It's just, he's lighter in a few areas. And I'm not going to dig into that. I'm going to keep that as low as possible. I'm going to keep it as natural as possible to make it easier on myself when it comes down to the end of the cut. But right here, I'm doing the same thing. I'm using the edge of that blade. And as you can see, like I said, I'm pushing my thumb down. And I got that index finger resting somewhere on the head. At all times, I'm going to have that index finger resting somewhere on the head to make it easier to cut the hair. But once again, I'm not using a full blade right here. As you can see, that left side is not even on the head. It's just the right side of the blade. And now I'm using that left side as I'm creating that C look on this side. But like I said, the most important thing that I took away from when I was learning to do a lineup is the blade is straight. So, and this is not no hidden, knowledge or nothing like that. This is just me being completely honest with you. The blade is straight. So you don't have to if you have a line that comes out crooked or you have a line that comes out not to your liking, 9 times out of 10 is either one or two things. Your blade is not set properly or you position the blade on the head the wrong way. But once again, like I said, I'm just doing whatever I did on the other side and I'm connecting it to the right side of the head. And the way I do that is just by looking at my blade. Before I push down with my thumb, and I'm not pushing hard, but before I just kind of push down with my thumb, I'm making sure that left side of the blade matches up with what I'm finna create on that right side. And then I lightly tap and kind of pull down at the same time while I'm doing it. And the same thing, I'm going over it once again. I'm going over it more than one time to ensure that that line is set in. And I can do that, given that my clippers are sharp, I can do that because I'm not pushing hard. If you gotta push real hard with your clipper or your trimmer, 9 out of 10, that trimmer is not set right. So you should just be able to tap and go. And, just word for advice for the ones who may be beginning. Like I started out with Walmart clippers, but the better product you have, the more easier it is to line up something. So if you got a Walmart clipper, no knock on it. Like if that's what you got to use starting out, use that. But the more you get, the better products you get, the better tools you get when you cut hair, the better the haircut will be. And I'm not saying the haircuts don't do the work for you. I'm just saying the better product you have, the better trimmer or clipper you have, the more easier the haircuts become. You still got to have skill behind whatever product it is that you're using. If that's a Babyliss clipper or whether that's an Andy's clipper, you still got to have skill behind it, but it does make the haircut way easier. So right here, I'm finna get ready to line up the ear, behind the ear, sorry about that. I know at one point in this lineup behind it, my arm is gonna get in the way, so excuse me for that. But right here, I'm doing the same thing. I'm not digging into it. I'm keeping it all natural. I'm just letting my clipper do the work. Cleaning up the rest of that neck area, but I'm just letting my clipper do the work. I'm combing it down. Even what I just went over, I'm just combing it down. And like I said, my arm's in the way, but you can still see the trimmer. I'm not pushing. I'm not digging deep. Right here, I'm just pushing. I'm holding the ear down, and I'm using the corner of my blade, and I'm going right above that ear. I'm not pushing in on it. I'm not taking it up too high. I'm not taking it too low. I'm just clearing off those little baby hairs that I comb down, and I'm using the edge of my blade while I do that. And as you can see, like I said, it's coming out pretty good. So anytime you line it up around the ear, you never want to just take it and push real hard, because behind the ear is very sensitive. So you can make your client bleed, or you can do all type of things. That's in the back of the head, that's in the front, that's on the front line, wherever. If you push too hard, you can leave harsh marks or scars, or even cuts from scars from cuts that you did what you digging too deep on your client. So that's just something to keep in mind when you lining up the hair. But right here, like I said, I just combed it down, went over it a few times to make sure that line is set in stone. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. So right here, like I said, I'm lining up the back of the ear, doing the same thing I did on the other side, just keeping it low as I can, following what was already right there, just sharpening it up a little bit. And you will see it again. I'm gonna comb the hair down, hold the ear down. I'm gonna use the edge of my blade, and I'm just gonna go in the direction of the kind of like a C, and I'm just gonna go right over the ear. I'm not going up too high. I'm not digging into it. I'm just using the edge of my blade, creating what was already there. And I'm gonna go over it a few times. Once again, I'm pretty sure after I do this, I'm gonna comb it down just to make sure that I got all those baby hairs that was laid down. But that's the only thing you gotta do when you cutting, when you fade, or when you lining up. You just want to make sure you comb it down to get everything to that, to your desire. So if you want it, very crispy, you want to make sure you got all of those hairs combed all the way down. You want to make sure if I was cutting right here, I want to make sure that I'm brushing this hair in the direction that it's going, to make sure that it's laying down, and that I get all those baby hairs or the hairs that's left over. So right here, I'm going in with my enhancement. My client asked for some enhancement, but a thing to note, if you just now starting out, I wouldn't really recommend using enhancement, just because you need to learn how to line up a natural hairline, and make a natural hairline look good without relying on, enhancements to help you out. So I could have, by all means, left this haircut natural, used my straight razor like I was gonna do anyway, and would have been completely satisfied as well as my client after the haircut without using enhancement. But I know you can't see the other side, but I'm not spraying the enhancement directly on the hair. I'm spraying it on the card and letting it bounce off the card to the hair. That way it create a more natural look. And whenever my client hair feels in, like all the way in, so it can get away from that double hairline look, you'll be able to see how much more natural this looks. And for the ones that's asking, I'd use Kiss Express. I use Kiss Dye, and I mix it with a certain type of alcohol. I do a certain type of mixture, and that's how I get it to come out with this color. That's basically the same as my client's hair. To the ones who probably gonna ask, I use fibers, but I really don't like how fibers look, and I really don't like what fibers do after the haircut. You can go hoop and go do some of the fibers. You sweat off for the rain hit, it's gonna sweat off. And I'm not against them. Like I said, I use them at my client's request, but I would much more prefer the enhancement machine, which is the airbrush. I'm sorry about that. I would much more prefer the airbrush machine over the fibers. And depending on my client, I might use both to give it that very, very natural look. Once again, right here, I'm just going in, spraying the enhancement as, where it's needed to kind of give it that natural look. And, even if I was using fibers here, I would comb the fibers down to make it look natural. Like, I don't want to be able to look at my client and say, oh yeah, he got enhancements in his hair, But right here, I'm going in with my straight razor. You know, the most important thing with this for beginners, like I said, I wouldn't really recommend a straight razor unless you cutting someone hair who you fully trust, and even then I wouldn't really, recommend it. But right here, only thing I did was I took it and I stretched the skin. That's all. You always want to stretch the skin to avoid cutting your client. I stretched the skin. I got my razor at about a 45-degree angle, and I'm stretching the skin, and I'm bringing that razor straight to the line. And for those of you who don't know, this helps the haircut last way, way longer. So you might can get an extra day or two out of it. And for my guys out there, and even my ladies who get haircuts, the power of a haircut lasting. So stretching that skin is very, very important when it comes down to using a straight razor. Right here, I'm just taking it. I'm brushing the excess dead cells. That's what that is. That's dead skin cells. A lot of people always think, oh, I like that look. Those are dead skin cells that when you using a straight razor, and that ash look, those are dead skin cells. Not saying anything wrong with it, I was just letting a lot of people know, because I didn't really know that at first until it was told to me. But you just same thing on this side. Although I didn't, move my client so you can see it, I'm stretching that skin. I brushed the excess dead skin cells off, and I'm going right back over it again to kind of give my client that, sharp look that make their hairline pop a little bit more. So YouTube, this is the end of the cut. If you like the haircut, please leave a like on the video and comment. If you want to see content like this in the future, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. A few things I didn't get to get on camera was the eyebrow slits. My client wanted slits in his eyebrow, so I put that in there, and then I put a little mousse in his hair and used my sponge and rack to kind of give his hair that curl look. But yeah, if you like the video, like I said, leave a like, comment, and if you want to see content like this in the future, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell every time I post a video. I'm out of here.